We're still obviously 6 weeks away from this final, and as we always say, an awful lot can change in 6 weeks. Historically, though, Pep Guardiola's Manchester City have got the advantage over Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. Certainly, if you go from 2020 through to mid-2023. However, after that, the pendulum has swung ever so slightly.
I think it's going to be difficult, isn't it? I think you can't really pick a winner because Arsenal are better defensively, but Man City always try to win a game. It could be down to a set piece. Cup finals are normally only separated by maybe 1 or 2 goals, but I can't pick a winner. And it's same with the league as well. I think Man City obviously go to Liverpool at the weekend. That'll be very difficult. But in terms of one game, it could go any way.
It's interesting to see because the very last fixture on that graphic was a 1-1, wasn't it? The first time we ever seen Man City sort of in the second half try and go defensively and try and see out a game against Arsenal. So maybe the tide is turning a little bit, but until I suppose Arteta gets his hands on the trophy ahead of his master, in a sense, Pep Guardiola used to be his manager, of course, then it's still very much City's trophy, I think they take. Why are you smiling at?
Well,
in the sense, I don't think Semenyo should have been allowed to play either. I think once you play in the competition, you shouldn't be allowed to play. And then if they say he's allowed to play, then Gay should
be cup tied.
He should be cup tied like it's always been. But then
the
there's just
rules
one.
changed, though, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's one rule for Semenyo and one rule for Gay. So it should be.
Well, no, there is no.
No. But what I'm saying is he should be allowed to play then, in my opinion. If he's played already for Palace, Gay, the same as Semenyo's already played for Bournemouth, he should be allowed to play in the final.
The rule, which is 6.4 of whatever guidebook it is, it says that the cut-off point is after the first leg of the semi-final.
Okay.
So if you sign for a club before the first leg, and this is the first year this has happened...
This is the first year.
Yeah, the first year that you're not cup-tied, yeah. So if you sign for a club before the first leg of the semi-final, you can play for that club if it's your second club of the season. If you sign after the first leg of the semi-final...
I don't agree. I don't agree with the whole thing.
No, but that's the rule. If you sign after the first leg of the semi-final, you are ineligible for the second leg and also the final. That's the rule.
Mark Gay signs a week after Semenyo and he can't play. So next month, Semenyo can get his hands on that trophy. Mark Gay, who maybe joins a week later, can't. It's I don't know how to use the word farcical, but I've used it.
OK.
Makes...
I mean, rules are rules, aren't they? Simple as that.
Do you agree with the rules?
Can you understand them? Can you understand them saying
I understand
that they may see if they can get it changed?
I understand Pep's frustration because you just spent all that money on a player. You want him to play, of course. But at the start of the season, the rules are rules. So
forget my dinosaur views on it. But what I'm saying is, if you're looking at the defensive side, I think we talk about Newcastle creating a lot of chances tonight. Mark Gay in the final would make them much more solid at the back against a brilliant Arsenal team as well. Yeah, but make a big difference, wouldn't it?
But that's irrelevant to the point, though, isn't it?
I'm still sticking to my point. I'm not changing my point.
I would love Gay to play. I think he'd be brilliant since he's signed for Man City, but it's irrelevant because they're the rules.
That it would have been enough to take them to Wembley, but they did have in the bigger picture. In the first half as well, they did create some chances.
Yeah, but I think the bigger picture is they're not taking the chances. I think with Voltemada, he's obviously a very good player, but he's not suiting the system in how Newcastle want to play. When Newcastle are at their best, on the front foot, counter-attacking, and sometimes today when Newcastle went forward, Voltemada's nowhere to be seen. In the second half, it changed a little bit. It got a little bit more impetus when Vissa came on the pitch. But they need to figure out what they want to be. And if they're going to stick with Voltemada up top, they've got to figure out how to get him into the game so he can show what he can do as well.
Do you think they're still figuring out what they want to be?
Yeah, I mean, it's a transitional period. Eddie said that, but, you know, they've been successful. Obviously, they won this League Cup last year, Champions League football. They're in this year and in knockout stages for the first time as well. So there has been progression, but it feels in the Premier League they've took a step back. Obviously, a heavy defeat tonight. And Mika's probably right in the sense that, you know, Voltemada is still question marks. He started, actually, his Newcastle career really well, but there's question marks Where does he play? How do you get the best out of him? Vista, I don't think, is fully match fit yet. You can see he's like still a yard trying to catch up with play.
He's still getting chances, though.
But they're still getting chances, and that's probably a positive for Eddie. They're still creating chances. But again, City could have scored more goals as well. I feel like the balance of the team isn't right. Now, be that the front three or with or without Voltman, I'm not sure. But there definitely seems a void with the balance of the team, because when City were breaking as well, they seemed to be wide open at the back, Newcastle.
I understand why they did go to a back five tonight, though. It worked against PSG. And the way Man City play, and they played two wide strikers today, but they're really dangerous down the whips. I understand that. But it's then, what have you got to do once you negate that threat from Man City? And at times I thought there was too deep and couldn't push up the field quick enough then to have a threat in that first half.
I mean, when you analyse all the goals, because of those wide strikers, does that then create even more room for those players who like to operate in that space, whether it be Reinders, whether it be Foden?
Yeah, well, I think as a centre-half, it's very difficult because you're sort of caught in no man's land. They see him stepping out, Mamouche gets his finish there. But because you're not used to being in those situations, you're almost guessing where you want to be, and you're always a yard off where you want to be.
By the time you, sorry to interrupt, by the time you do step out, you're a second too late.
Correct. And that's, you know, a second in football is such a long time, and you see there, they just didn't have it right. It works when you have a bank of five and you can sit in and the play's in front of you, but when you've got to be aggressive and push and jump up, if the timing's not right, especially against Man City, you will get exposed.
So I mean, when you talk us through the next goals as well, are you looking at Newcastle's midfield not helping the back three, or is it Newcastle's back three not helping the midfield?
Well,
how does this work?
It's a bit of both, but let's not forget that Newcastle have to score a goal. They're already behind, and the impetus is on them to go press really high. So if you look what Newcastle are doing here, they're trying to get a goal, but what happens there, you leave loads of space in the middle of the pitch, and then Mamouche gets his second here, there. But once you analyse it here, so here your three centre-backs here, and Eddie Howe's obviously told them before the game, we need to be nice and high. So there's no problem with that, your centre-halves being nice and aggressive, and as we roll it on here now, the problem is Tonali goes too early, and now your three centre-halves don't know what to do. So as we roll it on here now, you've got Reinders, has got all this space to run into, and you're thinking your centre-half here, can you come across and stop that? And because there's no communication between them, they're sort of not doing
that space.
Both, which leaves the massive gap in the middle of the field. And like I said before, Man City will punish you when you give them that time and space. And as you see, we roll it on, Mamouche gets his
It's too easy,
goal.
Chappers. It's too easy. You know, you're away at Manchester City. They're a brilliant team. They can open you up. And as Meek says, if you're a yard off it, high up the pitch, a yard off it in the edge of your box, you're going to get taken apart. I think it's naive a wee bit from Newcastle to go here and play in the front. I know they have to chase the game, but we spoke before the game about, you know, Chelsea last night staying in the game. But after, what was it, after half an hour the game was over, maybe even less. It was good night Vienna for Newcastle. The tie was gone. So we're all brilliant in hindsight, and I'm sitting here in hindsight, we should have done this, should have done that. But had they have come here and been more, maybe in a sort of relatively low block or a defensive unit, and then use the pace of a Willock and a Gordon or maybe a Barnes or a Langa came on second half, show bits. But we were too open. We were too open to defend against, you know, Man City are a brilliant team.
And not only that, Chappers, when you're a defender and you're going in there, you don't really want to be in there. You know, you want to go nice and aggressive.
A long way from home
when
as well,
you header,
to defend.
and you don't. When you're coach, it's just all the space and everything's in front of you as a defender. When you start have to be a defender and then step into the midfield area, you don't quite know the spaces where you're supposed to be.
You also said we there, and I thought you wanted to be.
I know I'm not getting the call for the final, so I'm going all in Newcastle.
Before we look at the third goal, just because I asked you this at half-time as well, you were alongside Kelly at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday, you and Jamie. Did you see things there where Tottenham had the first half with the back three that City exploited here with Newcastle as a back three, i.e., I know it worked for Newcastle, the back three against Paris Saint-Germain, but could they have looked at how a back three didn't work for Spurs?
Yeah, but the problem
is
is,
different?
So when City play that, they play four at the back and they play that box in midfield. So you have your two holding midfielders and you have your two number 10s, Reinders and Foden. So when you're a defender, if you're Newcastle point of view, you don't know where to go. They suck you in and they have the extra man in midfield, 4 against 3, and then you don't know. So that's why it's so important for your centre half to step out, which you don't really want to be there. And if you give someone like Phil Foden time and space to get on the ball, half turns, and then you've got the runners from Reinders, and then O'Reilly as well making a run. It's very difficult to know.
What I'm saying is, given how it didn't work for Spurs about, and again, it's the hindsight is a wonderful thing, isn't it? Are you surprised that Newcastle in the end did go with the back three?
No, I'm not surprised at all. Just to the fact that City are so, I don't know, powerful down the wings, and you don't know if Haaland's going to start today. He didn't start. Mamou started. Semenyo is really good from the wings as well. So you're sort of trying to negate that threat in wide areas. So I understand why they went with a 5, but it hindered them on the ball in the first half going forward.
Talk us through the third goal then, both of you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a similar sort of thing here. And Tonali, Newcastle are in possession here, and again, that space is because Botman doesn't go nice and high. And once you're in this position here with the quality players that Man City have, you are going to get punished. And you see it better on this angle here. So Newcastle are on the ball. Now, there's a space that we're talking about. And this, I don't have a problem with this because Newcastle are chasing the game. They have to be brave.
Yeah.
They kept 2-on-2 at the back. Now, if you roll it on slowly, if you're going to play with 3, Botman now has to be aggressive with Reinders, and you can stop it at source, and then you're not running back to your own goal, which then negates that threat.
But that's
of
that
Man City.
1 second thing again.
But again, it's timing. It's all about timing in football, and they're used to playing a 4 at the back. When you then go to a 3, it's difficult. Like I said before, when the play's in front of you, it's fine because you can trap runners, you can organise, you can watch runs. But when you've got to step into the midfield area, and we're talking about fractions or seconds, it becomes very difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult to watch from a Newcastle point of view, how open they're, you know.
But they had to go for it, didn't they?
Yeah, no, but it's damage limitations. I think Jimmy mentioned in commentary as well. You know, it's going to be a hiding. They had to score 4, I think, or whatever at that point, and it's just too open. You know, you're right about Botman, for example. If he goes all the way in as a right side centre half, worst case, he's nearly got a rugby tackle Reinders. He's got to stop. He's got to do a tactical foul high up the pitch. He turns them, and then they're bang in trouble. But they're so open. I mean, I don't know many teams that come here to Etihad and play that open. I don't see it. So I mean, Eddie and his staff will look at it and think, you know, did we gamble too much there, perhaps? And I know that it's all on the line because it's 2-0 down from the first leg, but it's just really hard to watch them goals back because they're so open and there's no balance in the midfield.
To Jeremy Ryan.
Pep, congratulations. You're through to another final of the Carabao Cup. What did you do to control the game so well tonight?
Well, with the Newcastle never control completely, but they have a lot of 1-against-1 against James. It was unbelievable, especially in the first half. And but we have in the right pace. I know the rhythm that the players that we play in the first half. They have a good pace, a good rhythm, and yeah, but we saw it, and how alive we were, and yeah. So Newcastle is is a Champions League team. It's a top class player, except Joel and Tony and Marais. They put all the players all the time, making incredible, intense game in all departments. So of course you suffer, but the guys were really good, and yeah, 5-1 aggregate is unbelievable and expected when we start the team like is the last Champions League Carabao Cup, and in March, end of the March, we go to Wembley again for many years in FA Cups and Carabao Cups and so on. And yeah, we're going to travel to London. They will wait us there, so all the time we have to travel. Never travel in the north from England. But yeah, really happy to be back after many years, and 5 times in 10 years is a big milestone.
And a lot of good performances tonight. Omar Marmoush, how much do you appreciate his movements, especially when playing like this with 2 strikers up front?
Yeah, really good. His movements are really top, but really. So they make that movement in behind, and have this incredible sense of goal. At the end, the first one is really lucky, but it's not lucky when you're playing with this passion, with this love, all of them. And yeah, really pleased for him, because of course that type of game with 2-0, you know, it always can be complicated mentally. And we start really well. We scored, you know, the 2 goals, the 3 goals in half time, so that was really good.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, important saves from James Trafford. Yeah. How have you seen his development, especially working alongside such an experienced goalkeeper as Donnarumma?
I said from the beginning, James is a top class player, top class keeper. So have an incredible future ahead of him. The position the keeper is special because, of course, you have to play and cannot play, you know, some players of Nico O'Reilly, you know, can play a left back, can play attacking midfielder in the pocket, can play holding midfielder, but the keeper had to play keeper, and there is just one, and Gigi, of course, is an extraordinary keeper, but I'm really pleased we're in the final. He's going to play the first final in Carabao Cup for him, and FA Cup, and of course, everything can happen.
Yeah, the first chance of a title this season. When you think of a group as in formation, what could it mean to win a title?
Will be good for all of them. So you have to live this experience. You have to live this experience for many of these players. You know, for the first time we won first title in our era here was in the Carabao Cup 9 years ago, and was okay. Break something. You know, when you win something, helps to win more. It's a pleasure to play against Arsenal, the best team right now in Europe, maybe in the world, and for many things, the stats, the consistency, the many details that they control, and as much we play against them, we will make us better team. And hopefully in March we can arrive with the players fit, and hopefully we can convince the Carabao Cup that Mark can play this competition, the final, because it's difficult to understand that the club making a big investment to play one player, to take one player. It belongs to us, and I don't understand why cannot play the final, honestly. So hopefully we make a letter, and hopefully the Carabao Cup or whatever, they can understand that once you buy a player for a lot of money and he's not able to play for a rule that I don't understand why, hopefully they can change it, they can play.
Final one on Arsenal, because some people will argue that this title would mean more to Arsenal because they've been waiting for so long, because there's so much expectation. What would you say about that?
I understand, so don't make me say something that make me feel, you know, something that I understand they want to win. I saw the celebration yesterday against Chelsea, so many years that they don't do it. It's normal that happen, but we want to do it too, and hopefully, just I pray that have the players fit and have you know, the players in our disposal to try to compete against them. So, but for many years, being again another final is really good.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Natalie.
I suppose one of the big things to remember here, and Natalie mentioned it to Reinders as well, is that there are a lot of players in this City squad who are waiting to win their first medal for the club, because it has changed so much over the last 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, I think when you're a Man City player, you come here for silverware, don't you?